Well, earlier in the spring, I finally had an end to one of my quests to find a particular species. In the end, it wasn't me that found it. It was Nick and Samantha Brownley. And that quest was for a ladybird, the striped ladybird, a quite beautiful species. And it was so nice to see striped ladybird again. But I still had another quest. A quest with an Egyptian connection. That Egyptian connection is in the name of the ladybird I also wanted to see again after many years of not seeing it. And it's the Hieroglyphic Ladybird. And you're looking at it. And once again, you're looking at it courtesy of Nick and Samantha Brownley. To many people, this black circular object or oval object probably won't seem to be what it actually is. It's the coloration that doesn't give it away, but this is a ladybird. And it's a ladybird that I've been after seeing again and photographing and getting a chance to actually film this species for a number of years, ever since this channel's been on air, and that's getting on towards 5 years. This is the much sought after Hieroglyphic Ladybird, and it's much sought after in Nottinghamshire because it's rare. It is a very, very difficult species to find. I've tried many times annually since Dillis and I last had it at Reneth Heath back in 2016, I believe it was. That's how hard it is to find. And there is just a scattering of records pretty much in a line north to south from Clumber Park, which is where I am today, down to Reneth Heath. But on most of those sites, this ladybird has not been seen since the 1990s. The only recent records have come from Reneth Heath. This one comes courtesy of Nick and Samantha Brownley. Yet again, I'm indebted to Nick pushing this through the door, allowing me the opportunity to photograph it earlier on today, and to bring it back here to Clumber Park, which is where Nick and Samantha Brownley beat this ladybird off a small scrub pine. I've had a look on scrub pines in this area. I can't find any more yet, and I would dearly like it to warm up, but we've got lots of low cloud coming in off the North Sea, little bits of drizzle. It is very mild, but this isn't an easy species to find in amongst the heather or vegetation, especially when it's black. There is a nice reddish colour, and it has the sort of hieroglyphic like markings on it. That's one that I would love to see. I've seen 3 of these things now, and they've all been pretty much like this. One a little bit lighter with some sort of dark olive semblance of markings on them. I would dearly love to find one of the red form. However, I can't be too fussy. Just to see a hieroglyphic ladybird is something. There's evidence to suggest that it could have declined in Nottinghamshire. Declined as sites which are usually heathland sites with lots of tall, leggy and rank heather, but some scrubbing as well. They like an element of birch scrub and pine scrub too. This is, in Nottinghamshire, one of the hardest things to find. but a welcome find too. This is a ladybird which relies on the larva of the heather beetle, which varies in numbers. It's very common generally, but it varies year to year, and so obviously the hieroglyphic ladybird will vary in numbers equally, just as much as the heather beetle does. There you can see those light tan markings, and there's 2 spots on the pronotum there. They sit still a lot, which is a good thing actually. I've just put this onto this little bit of heather and it's not done a deal. And that's a beautiful view. Wow. I know it's largely black. There's very little in the way of coloration about this thing, but rarity trumps any coloration. This is so hard. I've tried, did this myself, we've tried beating, sweeping heather. We got lucky twice. And checked the trunks of silver birches growing in isolation in heathland. It is a devil to find. And on this specimen, and the other 2 specimens that Dillis and I recorded, those light tan markings around the edge of the elytra have been the only markings, but now we can see the only other distinctive marking on this ladybird, and that's the 2 white spots on the pronotum. Otherwise the head is entirely black and shiny, and the pronotum is equally black and shiny too. So here in Nottinghamshire, this species has been so elusive, and well, we've just not found it since 2016. We've tried all manner of methods and all times of the year. They must tuck themselves away in amongst the heather litter at the base of heather plants. But I wouldn't be surprised to find these tucked in with other species, maybe on the end growth of pines. In terms of size, it's about the size of a 2-spot ladybird. So if you know your ladybirds and you know your 2-spot ladybird, this is about that size. Maybe just a fraction smaller. And the drizzle starts again. But this is what they do a lot, sort of tuck their head in to the dead flowers of this heather. It doesn't help in anybody's effort to find them, especially if you're searching visually. But I'm so pleased to finally get the chance to film this species, thanks to Nick and Samantha. Thanks to their efforts once again, I've got something to show you all, and it's ended a quest, although my quest continues in a way, because I would love to see the red form of this ladybird. But as I say, looking from these shots, you wouldn't dream that it's a ladybird. No bright red colours on this one. Looks very much like many other beetles, but Coccinellidae, the family of ladybirds, have a very familiar shape. I'm so pleased that I just had a chance to film it, and it's not been incredibly active as soon as I put it on the heather and run. I wish they all played like this. I was beginning to think that because I'd not found it in or on Reneth Heath, that we'd perhaps potentially lost this species in Nottinghamshire. Thankfully not. It presumably exists and breeds in low numbers, occasionally having bumper years. No doubt all ladybirds do that. But I think this one's a swine to find, even when it's having a bumper year. We've not known one to have a bumper year, but there must be more of these around in this little area of Clumber Heathland. What a great little thing. I like it in a way when quests are ended to see a certain species, but say, there's still something to look for with the red form. Or any hieroglyphic ladybird that shows an element of coloration more than what this one does, but say this seems to be typical. I've had two specimens like this and one that has had some kind of pattern on. That's the hieroglyphic ladybird, confined to just a few heathland sites within the Sherwood Forest area and Clumber Park area of Nottinghamshire. And offhand, the last Clumber record was going back to 1981. But I need to check and do a bit of research. Fabulous.